Hey, it's Soul with another video, and today we're going to briefly cover, well, basically the new character creation screen that is going to come for the Vulpera Allied race. It's coming at last, to pretty much nobody's surprise. Vulpera are coming as an allied race to battle for Azeroth in patch 8.3, the Visions of N'Zoth, and well, I'm just gonna kind of go through top to bottom what's going down. So first off, the classes. It looks like the Vulpera can be warriors, hunters, rogues, priests, shaman, mages, warlocks, and monks. As a nice little bonus for the hunters, it looks like the initial pet for the Vulpera is going to be the snake. So I guess in a way, I guess the Sathrak are kind of sort of being an allied race too. Haha, haha, real funny. Let's get right to some of the details though. There's actually a pretty fair variety of different skins and customizations between the Vulpera males and females, although fundamentally there's not a whole lot of difference between them. If you take kind of a look, all basically the ladies, they obviously have, you know, female body parts. They have a chest, but they also have shorter snouts, somewhat smaller of a stature, and that's about it. Otherwise they are, let me get this thing a little bit closer, they're pretty close in their overall look. So not like a huge difference between the genders, although it is, at the very least, it is noticeable enough. All right, so let's go to the skin or the fur color over here. Let's see, we got this one, we got a nice little gray. I like the little tips on the ears over there. Here's a more traditional one that kind of makes them look like a mount. the fox mount that we saw from Legion. And then we have a bit of a grayer. I like this red one though. I definitely like this kind of classic-y fox feel. Not so much the white ones, although I'm sure there are a lot of people that really like the white fox, which is also reminiscent of a recent mount, although I think that was a little bit more blue. But I like these two, although this one's pretty familiar with this previous one here. It's like this one's kind of a lighter gray, this one's a bit a darker of a gray. Let's go a little bit closer though. And let's see what kind of face options that we have. So it looks like the really defining features are going to be, but it looks like it's mostly around the eyes. You see you have a bit more of a fuzz here on this one than this first one here. Or if you want to go here and not look so very defined, or just go opposite and just go all out with having a really high contrast. Or if you want to have something that kind of blends in together a little bit more closely. The options for the ears, they seem to have a bit more variety. We have different kinds of curvatures and lengths of ears. So if I go, let me go all the way down because I've seen this already. Like here, like these are pretty much like wings. The Vulpera can pretty much start taking off here. And from there, it's either, it's basically the ear type as well as whether there are rings or not on them. So here we have a bit less of a, you know, they're kind of spread out a little bit more, but they're not riding as high. And then we have this kind of curl here, which to me, it's not like super attractive. I'm not too fond. It kind of looks like horns with this sort of look. This looks a bit more traditional. Yeah, this sort of shape here, I'm not too fond of, but I like those a little bit more. And this is actually a pretty decent muted look, although I don't know, it kind of makes their face or their head look a little bit big. And it would be nice if there were more earring options, or I guess overall more options as always. And then here was the original look that we were going for. So here we have a pattern, and we get to go like a little bit shirtless here. Going through it, looks like there's only 3 kinds of patterns to go with, but keep in mind that we can transmog most of our gear off, so we can have this kind of more feral look to it, depending on the class that we're trying to play as. Again, I'm on a hunter here, so yeah, you can have this kind of like shirtless hunter going around with his little snake pet going around. This snake though, I gotta say, this snake looks really, really cool. Let me go back to the snout one more time. So it looks like we can adjust the length of the snout for the fellas and actually have them look a bit more feminine, because if we go to the female snouts, I guess we can have a bit longer of a look here. So I guess I'm wrong. I guess one of the defining features of between the males and the females is overall the shape of the head. And even then, it's really subtle between the two genders. So, you know, depending on the kind of armor that you're wearing, it'll almost look indistinguishable whether you are rolling as a male or a female, which I guess isn't so bad. It's a shame that there isn't like a big difference with the tail. I wouldn't mind, or I would appreciate if we were able to do anything with the tail. It doesn't look like we can change the shape or anything like that. I usually want to hold out hope. Hey, maybe they can add a few more options to these. This is just the PTR. Although given that the Vulpera have been a thing for quite some time now, I have serious doubts that we're going to see any sort of tail customization anytime soon. It looks like they're just done with it, and now they're finally rolling it out for players to actually play with. All right, so I'm going to go through this login and see what we get. So it looks like there is new. It looks like I'm not alone with making a Vulpera. There's a lot of people that are here to check things out, it looks like. But what I want to see is the mount. And so here we go with the Caravan Hyena, along with my snake, which is, this is cool. Except for the whole thing with the carriage jumping all over the place. Okay, this is actually in practice. Okay, it's a bit much. It's a little bit busy. Like, you know what? I don't like this. I actually don't really. I like the mount. You know, I'll give it that. And here's the mount special there. Pretty neat, kind of reminiscent of a wolf. You know, and let me change this really quick. Sorry about the trouble here. Toggle run or walk. Okay. All right, so if we're walking, we're cool. We look great. Absolutely perfect. The jingle of the ball or jingle of the lamp over there, everything looks cool. But when I'm running with this guy, this is very unattractive. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like the lamp is going to just fly into the rest of the mount and light everything on fire, and then boom, your adventure is over. So I want to like this mount. It does. It is cool. The hyena mount is awesome, but the carriage, kind of dealing on top of it, yeah, not so much. So I think that's pretty much it for the Vulpera race, except for racials. Let's take a look at those really quick. So bag of tricks. Put your chosen trick from the bag and use it on an enemy or an ally. Okay, let's try to do that. Bag of tricks. Here we go. You cannot do that to a PvP target while PvP. Can I do it to myself? How about that? Bag of tricks. I don't know what happened. I threw something at myself, and that's pretty much all that happened. Okay, so let's see. Make camp. 5-second cast. Make a camp at this location can only be used outdoors. All right. So I can basically make a camp. I have no idea what I just made. I don't see anything. So I don't know if that actually worked or not. So I'll try to move away a little bit. And it looks like this is just like a Hearthstone, wherever I want it to be. So let's try returning to camp. And see what happens. And come on. Oh, okay, cool. So that's going to be a pretty useful teleport. I can't imagine there being a way to really like exploit the crap out of this, although I'm sure that enterprising players will definitely find a way. But let's move on to the next one. Rummage your bag. Change your chosen tricks. Looks like that is not implemented yet. So, but let's see what happens when I click it. If anything. I'm sure nothing's going to happen. And there we go. Okay, nothing happens. Nose for trouble. When you first take damage from an enemy, reduce that damage by 5% of your maximum health. So that's kind of interesting. So when you first take damage from an enemy, it doesn't sound like a huge deal. I mean, maybe if someone was trying to do a big sneak attack on you, like let's say if a rogue is, gouges you and then wants to open up with something big, their first hit isn't going to be that big of a deal. I would say that's a really soft bit of damage reduction there. And that should just about wrap things up for the Vulpera as an allied race, from their looks to their racials to their crazy looking mount to their pretty awesome looking snake pit. This is cool. I like this just as much as I like the allied race, to be honest. So what do you think, folks? Feel free to share your thoughts in a comment below. Like the video if you enjoyed yourself, and subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.